It doesn't matter. It's about the response to it by those in power. The White House isn't disputing it, but they didn't say it was wrong. They put out a statement of condolence to the McCain family during this time, praying, wishing well. Nothing from the leaders in Congress, nothing from the president himself. Does this matter? We're making too much of it? Let's discuss with Paul Rieckhoff. He's a veteran of the Iraq War, founder and CEO of the nonprofit organization Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Always good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, Chris.
What am I getting wrong about this? Let's say it was a joke. I don't know Miss Sadler. I don't know the context. She was in some meeting, but she said something that's ugly and stupid. You would expect the boss to own it, the White House to say, we don't talk this way, we don't think this way, we won't allow it this way. None of that happened.
Right, right. I mean, it's outrageous, and it's disgusting, it's shameful. It's bad for America. It's bad for our dialogue. John McCain, I've had the honor of working with on the GI Bill and many other pieces of legislation. We don't always agree, but everybody respects him. He really has a reverence in the Senate, and I think that's appropriate. He's a tough guy. He'll be able to handle this, but he's got a family. Right? Like, there are people watching who are beyond him, right? And we all have kids. Our kids are watching. Mm-hmm. So I really think it's about the command climate that's coming out of the White House right now. When you're the president, you set the tone. And you've got to come down on stuff like this because it's just bad for the country. And it's outrageous. Shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, Senator Graham says that Cindy McCain is monitoring a little bit of what media John McCain takes in. And let me tell you something. The White House should be thankful for that if it's true, because you don't want this guy on the wrong side of you. He is a fighter. They call him the
Maverick. Is this what happens when you have a political debate now? Like, it's got to go to that level, personal attack. And that's the problem.
We saw proof of it. We saw proof of two bad things, right? So Fox Business has this guy on yesterday. He's a veteran.
Right.
He was a lieutenant, but he's a well-known commentator. And he says really ugly and untrue stuff. We need to do torture. Why? Because it works. Look at John McCain. It worked on him. That's why they call him the songbird. Nobody calls him that. He had a chance to get out of torture. He stayed. We all know the story. It was horrible and ugly. He got thanked for the comments on Fox Business, and then they put out a statement.
Yeah.
The president doesn't say anything about these things because he said the same kind of things himself.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to the men and women who fight these wars and who are around those kinds of methods and now have to hear this kind of talk at home?
Well, veterans don't think it's okay, right? Veterans are outraged. I haven't talked to anybody who said, yeah, this is okay, right? Not a single person. I'm sure maybe there's one or two out there, but it doesn't seem to be bubbling up in the community in that way. And I think there's another piece of this. Like, we've got men and women fighting overseas, and they're taking bullets, and they're in harm's way, and they look back and they say, is this what's happening back home? So it's demoralizing on some level, but I think it's also factually inaccurate. Torture doesn't work. It's been, I mean, unless you've been hiding under a rock for the last 15 years, you should know by now that torture doesn't work. And it's also bad for our military. Puts our troops in harm's way, sets a bad precedent. Part of why thousands of soldiers gave up in the first Gulf War is because they knew if they were captured, they would be treated well by Americans, right? If you implement a system of torture, people will fight till their dying breath. And that makes it a lot harder for our troops. I want to go into the battlefield and have everybody give up. That would be awesome. And I think most American troops would want the same thing. So why make it harder for them? That's a different angle on torture that I think troops understand that some of these policy pundits don't.
It sounds hard, so you think it will work. The reality on the ground different, as you would know. Policy concerns for the brothers and sisters who protect this country. Still no VA secretary.
Yeah.
The name Brian Mast, though, veteran, well known within the Washington circles, respected. The president supposedly considering him. What does that sound like to you guys?
I know Brian Mast. We've worked with him. We actually recently introduced a piece of burn pit legislation, which is really important. Burn pits could be our generation's Agent Orange. He's working with Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat. So we've got two young vets working together. Brian Mast is an amputee. He's been through it. It's a new voice. It's someone that our generation would definitely have a lot of
qualified. Think he could handle it?
We'll see. I mean, that's what the vetting process should do.
But so far, so good.
I mean, he's a different kind of a candidate. He's a younger candidate, which is what we need. We need energy and focus. We need someone who can work across partisan lines. But right now, the bottom line is that this has been a rotation of names. I mean, the guy who was leading in our office pool last week was Kanye, because we don't know who it's going to be. We really don't. It's become a circus, and that's bad for veterans. Veterans are walking into VA hospitals right now, and next to President Trump, where there's a picture normally of the VA secretary, there's nobody. There's nobody. We don't have a leader. And that's bad. That's really bad, and it's got to get fixed.
All right, so let's talk about the good things that we have coming up. Mother's Day this weekend. God bless the moms. Important for veterans, too. So many moms in the service. Memorial Day coming up as well. What do you want people to remember for these occasions?
Well, for this weekend, we've tried to elevate, recognize, and support women veterans. About 20% of IAVA members are women. They're fighting, they're dying, they're serving in harm's way. But the extended family, we all have mothers who waited for us at home. We served with mothers. And it's a really important time to reflect and also focus on action. So we've got a bill called the Deborah Sampson Act that will expand support for women veterans, ask every member of Congress to support them. Flowers are nice, but taking lasting action is what we really need. Also, a lot of progress on burn pits. This is an issue I hope you'll cover in the next couple of years. Over 80% of our members feel they were exposed to toxins while they were overseas. The long-term health impacts are unknown. Could be a cancer causer. Could be our generation's Agent Orange. We've got a bill now, and that's going to be important. We need everybody to support that as well.
We get the word out there as promised. Thank you for your service. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.